Hi everybody, here's the second of three videos to help you with your WordPress site. Okay, so now I'm going to dig into how we can use the editor that's built into WordPress. Now keep in mind this doesn't apply if if your theme has a page builder built in, or if you've installed a plugin like Elementor or Page Builder, which are perfectly great tools to use, but they're going to be a little bit different than what I'm showing you here. WordPress has tried to implement some of these features into WordPress itself. I find students really like Elementor, so you may want to give that a try. But you can do a lot with WordPress's built-in editing and layout tools, okay? And the way that works is through blocks, okay? So what it does is each page and each post is going to have a series of content boxes that I can add, right? So what I'm going to do, I showed you this page in the previous video. So how did I do that? So basically I started with a title element, and then when you hit enter, it gives you the option of using this add button to add different kinds of blocks, right? So I can add all different kinds of blocks, and what you notice is these seem pretty familiar, right? Because we did paragraphs in HTML, we did pictures in HTML, we did headings, we did lists. Now there's a few other things. There's cover images, and there's also columns. And then we have more advanced layout elements. So we can put media next to text, we can put a separator, we can group some items together, we can add some buttons. So what I encourage you to do is experiment a little bit with these built-in tools. In a week or so, we'll talk about widgets, which is another way that you can add more complicated functionality to your website, but I don't want to make your brain explode at this point, so I'm just going to stick with the simple stuff for now. What I would do is if you're getting frustrated and you're feeling like I don't get any of this stuff, keep it simple. Don't get overly complicated. What you want to do is build on what you know. So the first thing you want to do is build your confidence by saying, how do I build something fairly simple, but I know what's happening, okay? It's always better to do that versus building something really complicated, but you don't understand what's going on, okay? So it is better to understand the simple part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some content. So I'm going to add another heading, but it's going to be a subhead, right? Now you recognize these, H2, H3, H4, and the H3 is a little bit smaller than the H2, right? Okay, that seems decent, right? So the ramblings of a nutty professor. I think I said recipes in the other one, but ramblings seems more suitable, right? But that's going on a second line, so I want to keep it on one line, so I'll put recipes. And then we have our alignment function, so we can align the text. You can boldface. So you get all different kinds of things that you can do in this menu to adjust the text or adjust the block, and then you can get more options for things you may want to do. WordPress does give you some edit as HTML functionality, so you can actually write your own HTML and incorporate it into your WordPress site if you want to, okay? If you have particular blocks that you like and you know that you're going to be using them a lot, you can do this reusable blocks function where you're kind of saving it in a library. So that gives you an option too. Okay, so now I've got this kind of looking like I want to look. Now I'm going to add an image. But what I'm going to do is instead of just adding a simple image, I'm going to add the cover image, which is a little bit bigger. You can also put a video there if you want to, and you know these different kinds of things, right? So you just kind of click around and see the kinds of things that you want to do. I'm centering the picture, but you can also have it be a full width picture if you want. So I'm going to upload, and I'm going to upload my dogs because they're awesome. Let's see if it goes in there. There it is, right? And then I can add some text on the photo. The world's best dogs, okay? And then, so you're building out your page by going step by step by step. So I'm going to add another block, and then I can do the column feature. So I'm going to say I want 3 columns, and then you're doing the same thing here, but you're going to add a block in each column. So you could put an image, you could put a quote, you could put photo galleries in each of these things, you could put audio. So you got some choices in sort of thinking about how do I want to build out my page. So what I had done is I basically had the picture. I didn't make it the full width picture. I prefer the full width. And then I created three boxes. So I basically did a pull quote. Here's my favorite food. I put a picture in one of the boxes, and then I did this and that. So that gives me my home page that I've designed. Now you can do this same thing with posts. What I would encourage you to do is keep your post designs consistent. So I'm doing a recipe site, so maybe what I want to do is make sure that I have all of the ingredients at the top of the recipe. Maybe I do heading 2 for the top of every recipe. I put a picture at the top, and then at the bottom I put a list of all of the steps for doing the recipe. Okay, so I've built out a couple of pages. Now what I can do is I can go back to here, and when I go to the pages menu, this gives me all of the pages that I've created. And what it will do by default, it will name the page by the title. So I have two pages called Creative Rant, which is really bad form. So what I need to do is probably go back to this and give this a new name, or I could rename it in this window if I want to edit it, do the quick edit. Oops, sorry. I can do quick edit and edit it in this window to change the functions of it. So instead of calling it Creative Rant, I'll call it, Old Rant or something. And then I can just update it. So this is the page. Maybe what I want to do is on this one, there's my Creative Rant. So I know I want this as my home page. So that's basically what you're doing. And you do that in pages and you can do that in posts. The thing that you want to keep in mind, the difference between these, right, is that this is my static content, my unchanging content, my posts are my regularly updated content. So when I create a post, what's important is to know what my categories are. So you want to sketch that out as part of your sitemap, right? So as you're sketching out the sitemap, you may want to think about, oh, I'll have an about page. I may have other kinds of things on my website, right? So on my website, what I've done here on this one is I created a menu. Let me go to the home page here. So what I've done, I haven't changed my home page yet because I've left it as the posts. So watch the previous video to talk about the differences between those kinds of pages, right? Because your home page usually by default will have your posts. So if I go to the About page, this is a static page. This is an actual page. And you'll notice your dashboard gives you a way to edit that page as you're navigating your site. Now I've created this other thing called Meal, okay? And that's basically, I organized my posts by meal of the day. So if I go back to my home page, I've created two posts so far. So I created spaghetti, that's actually a dinner item. And I created omelet, that's a breakfast item, okay? So by default on the home page, it's putting all of the posts, regardless of category, in reverse chronological order, okay? But say my user comes and says, you know what, I'm feeling like making some dinner, okay? And I'm not seeing the post that I want up there, so I go to dinner, and it looks like it's going to another page. And what this is actually doing is it's saying, okay, WordPress, go to the database, and I want you to pull every post that has a category of dinner and put it on this page. So if I had more than one post, I would see all of the dinner posts here. Notice how omelet doesn't show up? And the reason it doesn't is because it has the category of breakfast. So if I go up here and I go to breakfast, bingo, there's my omelet, and spaghetti doesn't show up because it has a category of dinner. So that's the advantage of labeling your content, because now think about this, we can get more complicated up here. I could add another menu item that's ingredients. So, and I could put meat, eggs, vegetables could be my categories. So on my eggs, this is going to show up on both breakfast and eggs. And it's the same piece of content, right? But I can get to it two different ways. So the same thing goes if I had for spaghetti, I might consider that, vegetarian if I don't put any meat in my sauce. It's a tomato sauce. So that could be vegetables. So that would show up under dinner and it would show up under vegetables. Okay. That's why categorizing your content is really important and thinking about it because it helps with your navigation and it helps make your content findable. It also gives you a little bit of SEO boost or search engine optimization boost because what Google will do is they will say, oh, this content has been tagged and categorized and it has this, so it must be omelets related to breakfast and not Omelette, the name of a new band, right? If I named my band Omelette, which is a terrible name for a band, so don't do that. Okay, so that gives you the idea of how this works. Okay, so when you are building out your posts and you're building out your pages, you're going to use those blocks. And then just remember, use the pages function for individual static pages and then categorize all of your posts because when you build your menu, which I'll show you how to do in the next video, you're going to tap into those categories. Okay? Good luck.